What if you could plant a flower just once and watch it come back year after year, more beautiful each season? That's the magic of perennials. No replanting every spring, no guesswork, just patient roots quietly waiting underground, ready to reward you with blooms that get better over time. Welcome to Golden Vault Garden, the channel for gardeners who want to plant smart, grow beautifully, and enjoy their outdoor space for years to come. In this video, we're counting down 25 of the best long-blooming perennials you can add to your garden. These are tried and true performers, plants with stunning flowers, great foliage, and the kind of staying power that makes every garden feel effortless. Whether you're just starting your perennial garden or looking to fill in the gaps, you'll find something here to love. Let's get growing. Plant 1. Hellebore. We're kicking off this list with one of the most underrated perennials in the garden, the hellebore, sometimes called the Lenten rose. Depending on your growing zone, hellebores can begin blooming as early as December and bloom well into April, making them one of the very first signs of life after a long winter. Once in bloom, they hold their flowers for a remarkably long time. And even after the petals fade, their broad, shiny, evergreen foliage continues to serve as a beautiful ground cover. A note on maintenance. By late winter, the older leaves may look a little tattered from the cold. Go ahead and cut them back. By then, the plant is already blooming and pushing out fresh new growth. Hellebores prefer partial to full shade in summer, but they actually need more sunlight in winter. This makes them ideal for planting beneath deciduous trees, where they're naturally sheltered by the canopy in summer and bathed in sunlight after the leaves drop in fall. They thrive in moist, well-draining soil and are hardy in zones 3 to 9. Bonus, deer and rabbits leave them alone. With so many gorgeous varieties, single petals, frilly doubles, jewel tones, soft pastels, the hellebore is a collector's plant. Once you have one, you'll want them all. Plant 2. Bearded iris. If you want a plant that looks like it was designed by a painter, look no further than bearded iris. This spring to early summer perennial is as dramatic as it is easy to love. Bearded iris grows from rhizomes, thick horizontal root structures that sit just at the soil surface. These rhizomes divide easily as they multiply, making iris one of the best plants to share with friends and neighbors. For the best blooms, give your iris full sun, at least 6 hours a day, and be careful not to plant the rhizomes too deeply. Buried rhizomes are one of the most common reasons iris fail to flower. They need to feel a little warmth from the sun to bloom their best. There are even re-blooming varieties available that put on a show in early spring, rest briefly, and then re-bloom again 6 to 8 weeks later. Iris prefer loose, well-draining soil and are hardy in zones 3 through 9. Whether your style is cottage garden charm or clean, formal lines, bearded iris fits beautifully into any design. Plant 3. Bleeding Heart, Dicentra. Few perennials are as romantic as the bleeding heart, and one look at those perfect little heart-shaped blooms tells you exactly how it earned its name. Bleeding hearts are a classic spring-blooming perennial, coming in beautiful shades of pink, red, and white. Some varieties feature soft green foliage, while others offer a striking golden chartreuse, adding even more interest to your shade garden. These plants naturally grow in woodland settings, so they do best in part sun with moist, well-draining soil. They're a wonderful choice for garden beds under trees or along north-facing foundations. Hardy in zones 3 to 9. A gentle note, as summer heat arrives, bleeding hearts may die back. This is completely normal. Simply pair them with plants that fill the space as the season progresses, and they'll return fresh and beautiful the following spring. Plant 4. Salvia, perennial. Here's an important note before we go further. There are both annual and perennial salvias, and they behave very differently. Annual salvia blooms all season and won't return after frost. Perennial salvia blooms for a few weeks, may rebloom with a second flush if you deadhead it, and comes back reliably year after year. One of the most beloved perennial varieties is Mainite, a compact, upright plant with intensely deep purple flower spikes that emerge in early spring. It is absolutely stunning planted alongside roses, and pollinators go wild for it. Deer and rabbits tend to avoid it too. Perennial salvia is easy to divide as it grows, and while it loves moisture, it becomes surprisingly drought tolerant once it's established. It blooms best and stays most upright in full sun. Hardiness varies by variety, so always check the label before purchasing. Plant 5. Nepeta, catmint. Related to mint, Nepeta, or catmint, is one of the most reliable, long-blooming perennials you can grow, and the pollinators absolutely adore it. What makes catmint especially great is its extended bloom season. Even as the flowers begin to fade, the calyces, the little cups that held the blooms, remain purple, giving the plant a soft, hazy color long after peak bloom. Deadheading will extend the show even further. Nepeta comes in a wide range of sizes, from compact ground-hugging varieties to larger, more dramatic mounds, so there's a size that works for any garden. It requires full sun and good drainage, is drought-tolerant once established, and is hardy in zones 3 through 9. Deer and rabbits stay well away. Plant 6. Peonies. Is there a more beloved flower in the entire garden? For many gardeners, the answer is simply no. Peonies are the showstoppers of late spring. Their massive, fragrant blooms are nothing short of extraordinary. Herbaceous peonies are the most widely grown type. They bloom for a couple of glorious weeks in late spring, and while the show is brief, it is absolutely worth every day of waiting. A variety like Sarah Bernhardt, a deep, fragrant pink, is a classic for a reason. New gardeners sometimes worry when they see ants crawling all over their peony buds. No need to panic. The ants are harmless. They're drawn to the sweet nectar and, in return, actually protect the buds from other flower-feeding insects. Those ants are a sign your peony is about to bloom. Because the blooms are so large and heavy, herbaceous peonies may need a bit of staking. If you want a more self-supporting option, Ito, or intersectional peonies, offer a lovely middle ground between herbaceous and tree peonies. Peonies do best in full sun with moist, well-draining soil and are hardy in zones 3 through 8. Plant 7. Geum, Avens. Geum, also known as Avens, is a long-blooming perennial that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Coming into bloom in late spring, Geum produces dainty, rosette-shaped flowers in warm shades of yellow, orange, red, and pink. The effect is playful and charming. Even beyond bloom time, the foliage tends to stay semi-evergreen in many zones, adding year-round interest. Geum thrives in full sun to part shade, prefers medium moisture with good drainage, and is a wonderful pollinator magnet. Deer and rabbits tend to leave it alone. Hardy in zones 4 through 9. Plant 8. Scabiosa, pincushion flower. If you're looking for a perennial that just never stops blooming, Scabiosa, especially the variety Butterfly Blue, is your answer. This little plant begins flowering in very early spring and keeps going all the way through frost. Worth noting, Scabiosa is considered a short-lived perennial, meaning it may return for only a few seasons rather than indefinitely. But its contribution to the garden while it's with you is so impressive that it earns a permanent spot on this list. Its 2-inch lavender blooms sit atop airy, wire-thin stems above tidy mounds of foliage, a look that pollinators find irresistible. Scabiosa prefers full sun and well-draining soil, hardy in zones 3 through 9. Plant 9. Lungwort, pulmonaria. Lungwort, or pulmonaria, is a clump-forming shade perennial with 2 seasons of appeal. In early spring, it produces clusters of small, bell-shaped flowers in shades of purple, pink, and blue. Then, as the blooms fade, the foliage takes center stage. Large, fuzzy leaves that are either beautifully speckled or streaked with iridescent silver. One of lungwort's charming quirks, the leaves are noticeably smaller while the plant is in bloom, then expand into large, eye-catching ground cover once flowering is finished. Lungwort is a true shade plant. Morning dappled sunlight is ideal. Afternoon sun can scorch the leaves. It prefers well-draining, moist soil and is hardy in zones 3 through 8. Plant 10. Mullein, verbascum. For vertical drama and pollinator activity, few plants can match mullein. botanically known as verbascum. This upright perennial sends tall flower spikes rising above the garden, creating bold structural interest from late spring well into summer, with sporadic reblooming in fall. In total, expect 4 to 6 weeks of bloom time. Two standout varieties are Southern Charm, a warm, peachy salmon apricot, and Snowy Spires, a clean, bright white. Both are relatively easy to grow from seed, making mullein an accessible and affordable addition to any garden. Mullein is a pollinator magnet. Expect bees and butterflies to make it a regular stop. It grows best in zones 4 through 9, loves full sun, and prefers well-draining soil. Once established, it handles drought without complaint. Plant 11. Shasta Daisy. Some flowers are simply timeless. The Shasta Daisy, with its cheerful white petals and sunny yellow center, is one of the most iconic garden perennials there is, and it earns that status with genuinely impressive performance. Shasta daisies bloom from late spring through early fall, and regular deadheading keeps the flowers coming in waves. They love full sun, grow best in zones 5 through 9, and prefer well-draining soil with moderate moisture. Pollinators, bees and butterflies especially, love them. As a cut flower, Shasta daisies are exceptional. Change the water every couple of days, and they can last up to a week in a vase, bringing a little bit of the garden indoors. Plant 12. Yarrow, Achillea. Yarrow, or Achillea, is one of those workhorses that every garden benefits from. Its finely textured, feathery foliage provides a soft backdrop that coordinates beautifully with almost any other perennial, and its flat-topped flower clusters bloom in rich shades of yellow, red, orange, and pink from late spring through summer. What's wonderful is that even as the blooms fade and shift colors, they maintain visual interest. Dried heads in warm amber tones remain beautiful well into fall. Yarrow thrives in zones 3 to 9, requires full sun and well-draining soil, and becomes very drought-tolerant once established. Pollinators love it too. Plant 13. Coneflower, Echinacea. If there's one perennial that deserves the title Garden MVP, it just might be Echinacea, the coneflower. It is beautiful, long-blooming, pollinator-friendly, wildlife-supporting, and almost effortlessly easy to grow. Coneflowers begin blooming in midsummer and continue through early fall, sometimes with sporadic reblooms that take you all the way to frost. The classic purple variety is gorgeous, but modern breeding has produced an incredible range of colors: warm oranges, rosy pinks, soft whites, and rich reds. If you can resist deadheading in fall, leave the seed head standing. Birds, especially goldfinches, will visit regularly throughout winter to feed on the seeds, turning your garden into a wildlife refuge, even in the coldest months. Echinacea is hardy in zones 3 through 9, loves full sun, and prefers dry to medium, well-draining soil. Once established, it's beautifully drought-tolerant. Plant 14. Red Hot Poker, Nymphophea. Red Hot Poker, or Nymphophea, is a showstopper in the most literal sense. Its torch-like blooms rise dramatically on tall stalks above grass-like foliage, and hummingbirds simply cannot resist those long, tubular flowers. While the classic colors are fiery reds, oranges, and yellows, there are more unexpected varieties available, like Lady Luck, a soft chartreuse and ivory combination that looks stunning even when it's not in bloom, because the base foliage resembles an elegant ornamental grass. Red Hot Poker blooms for 4 to 6 weeks from late spring through summer, grows best in zones 5 through 9, and prefers full sun with well-draining soil and moderate moisture. Plant 15. Astilbe. For shaded spots that need color and texture, Astilbe is in a category of its own. Its feathery plumes in shades of pink, red, white, and lavender rise gracefully above deeply cut fern-like foliage, creating a soft, romantic effect that's hard to replicate with any other plant. Astilbe blooms from mid to late summer for approximately 4 to 6 weeks. It performs best with moderately moist soil and benefits from a dose of fertilizer in early spring to fuel its season-long display. It grows best in zones 4 to 9.
Even after the blooms fade, the dried plumes add texture and russet tones to the garden well into fall, making Astilbe a true multi-season performer.
Plant 16, Lady's Mantle, Alchemilla mollis. Lady's Mantle, Alchemilla mollis, is one of those plants that surprises you. Its clouds of tiny, frothy chartreuse blooms look delicate and whimsical, almost like a fine baby's breath, and they work beautifully as a cut flower filler in arrangements. But here's what truly makes Lady's Mantle special: the foliage. Its soft, scalloped leaves catch and hold water droplets like tiny silver beads after rain, a truly magical sight. Even after blooming, the foliage remains gorgeous throughout the season. Lady's Mantle blooms for 3 or more weeks in late spring to early summer. It's hardy in zones 3 to 8, prefers moist but well-draining soil, and can handle both shade and sun. Though in full sun, consistent moisture is important to prevent leaf scorch. Plant 17, Lamb's Ear, Stachys. Some perennials earn their place in the garden not just through their blooms, but through the drama of their foliage, and Lamb's Ear is one of the best examples. Named for its thick, velvety, silver-gray leaves, Lamb's Ear spreads wide, up to 3.5 feet in diameter, creating a striking textural ground cover that fills in beautifully between other plants. That fuzzy texture happens to repel deer, too. An excellent non-blooming variety called Helen von Stein offers a tidier option than traditional Lamb's Ear. Where the old-fashioned type can become invasive by setting and dropping seed, Helen von Stein stays in a clean, well-behaved clump. All the gorgeous foliage, none of the spreading headaches. Lamb's Ear loves full sun and well-draining soil. It's easy to divide and share as it grows. Plant 18, Black-Eyed Susan, or Rudbeckia, is pure summer sunshine in flower form. Its bright golden yellow petals surround a rich dark brown center, and in large masses, it creates one of the most cheerful garden displays imaginable. The variety Goldstrum is particularly popular. Compact at 2 to 3 feet tall, extremely floriferous, and easy to grow. Black-Eyed Susans self-seed readily, so once you have them established, they'll happily spread and fill your garden over time. They begin blooming in midsummer in most zones and go strong through fall, pairing beautifully with purples, blues, and grasses for a late-season color combination. Hardy in zones 3 to 9, full sun is best for maximum bloom production. Plant 19, Agastache, Hyssop. Planted alongside Black-Eyed Susan, Agastache creates one of the most beautiful color pairings in the late summer garden, the cool blue-purple of its upright flower spikes playing perfectly against that warm, glowing gold. Agastache is a powerhouse pollinator plant. Expect bees to be working those flowers all day, every day. Deer and rabbits avoid it completely, likely because the leaves carry a pleasant minty fragrance that humans enjoy but pests find off-putting. The variety Blue Fortune reaches about 3 feet tall by 2 to 3 feet wide. It's a sterile variety, meaning it won't self-seed and spread. It simply grows as a well-behaved, expanding clump. Agastache requires full sun and excellent drainage. It dislikes heavy clay or overly wet soils. Hardy in zones 5 to 10. Plant 20, Sedum, Stonecrop. If you want a plant that requires almost no attention from you and still delivers incredible results, Sedum is your answer. Also known as stonecrop, this succulent-leaved perennial is among the most drought-tolerant, easy-to-divide, low-maintenance plants you can grow. Sedums emerge in spring as attractive clumps of thick, fleshy foliage. As summer progresses, their flower buds develop, lime green at first, slowly deepening to pink or rosy red by late summer. The variety Neon is particularly vibrant, while Autumn Joy and Matrona, with its striking dark foliage, are long-time garden favorites. One important rule: resist the urge to overwater or over-fertilize. Too much of either will cause the plant to flop open at the center. Give them full sun, good drainage, and essentially leave them alone. They'll reward you generously. Hardy down to zone 3. Plant 21, Joe Pye Weed, Eutrochium. If you're interested in supporting wildlife, especially butterflies, Joe Pye Weed belongs in your garden.
This tall, native perennial is a swallowtail butterfly magnet, and in late summer when it blooms, those mauve-pink flower clusters can be absolutely covered with pollinators. The compact variety, Little Joe, is a more garden-friendly option, reaching 3 to 5 feet in height with a 2 to 3 foot spread, perfect for the back of a border or as a dramatic centerpiece in an island bed. It blooms from late summer through fall, and deadheading can extend the display. Joe pieweed is native to North America, making it an excellent choice for wildlife-friendly garden designs. It prefers moist, well-draining soil and is hardy in zones 3 through 9.
Plant 22. Perennial Allium. Few perennials offer a bloom shape as distinctly beautiful as allium, those perfect spherical globes that look almost architectural floating above the garden on straight, elegant stems. Perennial alliums are part of the onion family, and that light onion fragrance does something wonderful. It deters deer and rabbits naturally. You get a gorgeous, unique flower with built-in pest resistance. The variety Millennium is a reliable performer in zones 5 to 9, thriving in full sun and adapting to a range of soil conditions, both moderately moist and on the drier side. And like all the best perennials, it is an outstanding pollinator magnet. At peak bloom, expect dozens of bees visiting at any given time. Plant 23. Japanese Anemone. When most perennials are winding down for the season, Japanese anemones are just getting started. These late-season bloomers bring a graceful, ethereal quality to the fall garden. Their silky petals seem to float above the foliage on long, airy stems. The white variety, Whirlwind, is a classic, forming large, spreading clumps over time. For a warm pink option, Fall in Love Sweetly, a ruffled, rosy variety, is simply stunning. Both appreciate soil with a bit of moisture and will reward you generously once they settle in. Japanese anemones typically bloom from late summer well into October in most growing zones, sometimes even beyond. They're the kind of plant that makes you pause at the end of a long gardening season and feel genuinely grateful. Plant 24. Lamium, dead nettle. For shaded areas where you want low-maintenance color and ground coverage, Lamium, also called dead nettle, is an exceptional choice. Don't let the name put you off. This plant is anything but a nuisance. Lamium produces small, orchid-like flowers in pink and purple, but it's the foliage that truly earns its keep. Depending on the variety, the leaves feature beautiful silver or white patterning that brightens up shady spots, even when the plant isn't in bloom. 3 standout varieties. Golden, a golden foliage type with pink-purple blooms. Purple Dragon, which offers large, striking silver foliage with vibrant purple flowers. And a classic unnamed division that spreads generously over time. Lamium blooms in spring and may rebloom sporadically throughout the season. It's a wonderful companion for hostas and other shade-loving perennials. Plant 25. Sheffield mums, hardy chrysanthemum. We're closing out this list with a perennial that delivers when almost nothing else in the garden still can, the Sheffield mums. Unlike the hybrid garden mums sold in autumn that are often treated as seasonal annuals, Sheffield mums are true perennials. They die back completely in winter and re-emerge from the roots each spring. By late October, they burst into bloom in a warm, peachy pink color that glows beautifully in autumn light. Bees love them, even this late in the season, and the plants are typically still covered in buds when they begin blooming, meaning the show continues for several weeks, right through the end of the growing season. Sheffield mums prefer full sun and well-draining soil. They're reliably hardy in most temperate zones and require very little maintenance beyond cutting back in early spring. For late-season color that genuinely surprises and delights, these are hard to beat. And there you have it. 25 of the most beautiful, long-blooming perennials you can add to your garden. Plant them once, and they'll return year after year, growing stronger and more stunning with every season. These are the kinds of plants that turn a garden into something truly alive, something that evolves, surprises you, and rewards your patience in ways that annuals simply can't. Now, every garden is different, and every gardener has their own favorites, so we'd love to know,
Which perennial from this list do you already grow? And are there any longtime favorites of yours that didn't make the cut? Drop them in the comments. Let's build this list together. If this video gave you some inspiration for your garden, make sure to give it a like. It really helps this channel grow. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now so you never miss a new video from this channel. We'll see you in the next one.